So my name is Abby, and I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. When my husband and I got married, I was 26 years old, and we had sort of talked about having a family together. It's something we both wanted, but we didn't want to do it right away. I really wanted a solid foundation for our marriage, so we waited a couple of years. So it just never occurred to me that I would have a problem. And when something doesn't easily happen, I think it's kind of, or at least for me, it's easy to ignore it and just say, this is something I'll think about next month, or this is something I'll think about in the next 6 months. But it was still another 6 months of trying with, negative pregnancy tests over and over. So I took another break, which I probably should not have done because I was getting older. I was 33 at that point. And then when I went back to see my OBGYN, I was 35, and she said, listen, you really need to get serious about this. I went through quite a few procedures because they were just trying to diagnose what the issue was. So everything that I went through, I just kept kind of hoping they'd be like, oh, this is the thing that's wrong. And just nothing ever came up. So we couldn't figure out what the issue was. And it was just called Unexplained Infertility. My husband was actually the one, I think it was after my 38th birthday this year, where he said, what are we doing? He did a little bit more research. And he basically said, we could do IVF abroad. If I had a friend who was interested in doing IVF, even if they'd done it in the States before, I would tell them to come here. I just think from a stress perspective and just an experiential perspective, this was so much more wonderful than doing it back home in the States. So taking 2 weeks out of your life to make IVF or make this attempt the priority of what you're doing as a couple was really helpful to me, because our appointments, both of us were at the entire time. And it didn't feel like I was going through it by myself or he was going through his process by itself. It was that we were doing it together, that we came here together to do it. And I think that just makes a ton of difference in how you feel about the procedures that you're doing. Even with the plane tickets here and with our expenses of an Airbnb that we rented and food on the island, it's still less than if we'd done the cycle in the United States. And we got a great vacation out of it. So 2 for 1.